Good afternoon and welcome to Active Citizens. The show is Asi De Hot because this is where it really de hot. My name is Sharon Edemchuku and I'm joined as always by the beautiful Ifoma Oji. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sharon.
Oh, you look splendid.
Always looking pretty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyways, we're welcome to Asi De Hot. This is where we bring you hot, trending stories from around Nigeria. And we start with the first one. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has issued a scathing critique of Southwest governors, accusing them of wasteful spending at a time when millions across the region face deepening economic hardship. Speaking at a policy forum in Lagos, Falana questioned the priorities of the governors, pointing to rising debt profiles, falling infrastructure, and underfunded public services. He warned that unless governance is focused on the people, the region risks sinking further into poverty and disillusionment. Meanwhile, in a related development, the People's Democratic Party is shifting its presidential strategy, reportedly conceding to pressure from former Rivers State Governor Wike to zone its 2027 presidential ticket to the south. Party insiders say Wike's influence has grown stronger within the PDP's inner circle, with top leaders aligning behind his calls for regional equity and political balance. While no candidate has officially emerged, talks are said to be progressing swiftly as southern contenders position themselves ahead of what promises to be a high-stakes election season. All right. To contribute to that second story, just so we have a fuller foundation. So there are also speculations that they are trying to convince former President Goodluck Jonathan to return to the political scene and vie for presidency in 2027. That is on one side. But before we move to that, that's an interesting bit I felt like I should add. But before we move to that, let's talk about Falana criticizing Southwestern governors and some of the claims that he made. So he criticized the Oyo State government in particular for allocating 63 billion naira for the rehabilitation of the government house. That's one. He also said that the Lagos State government was not left out, alleging that the State House of Assembly spent 45 billion naira on utility vehicles alone in 4 years, and was now planning another 20 billion naira allocation for the same purpose. He also mentioned the Wike position of southwestern states and talked about the fact that they have not been able to maintain a high position when it comes to Wike results and all of that. And this is where we are going to be starting today's conversation with, about the address that he gave to the Southwestern governor. And when I saw the story from I was really impressed, especially by the fact that a lot of all these Southwestern governors were in attendance and they got to hear from Femi Falana directly, because I sometimes wonder, when these politicians meet, what do they discuss? What do they talk about? What do they share? Do you understand? So I like the fact that they got to hear this live. It was not a Zoom call meeting. This was live in Lagos. But what do you make of that before we talk about the impact of bad education on WAEC and the recent glitches in WAEC results?
You know, it's still the same thing that we spoke about in the morning pause, when we talked about criticizing the government for a better governance. So it's still the same thing. Somebody is still coming out, a lawyer for that matter, is still coming out to, talk about the ill manner people in government misallocate funds. You could see clearly he mentioned the educational crisis when it comes to education sectors. He mentioned the crisis involved. He mentioned misallocation of funds. He mentioned literally everything that has to do with bad governance. And you could see that is really what we need in this country, for people to come out en masse to say, we don't want this bad governance, we don't want bad governing, that we need a change in government. So I think I will actually accord some accolades to him for coming out to do that. Yeah.
Good afternoon. We're also joined by another analyst in person of Mr. Maxwell Okoma. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me? All right, it seems that network has been dealing a lot with our analysts today, but that would not stop the flow of our conversation. Talking about what you said. Oh,
Yes, we
finally.
can hear
Oh, I
you.
can hear you clearly. Can you hear me? Okay. All
All
right,
right.
all right. Welcome to the show. So we were talking about Falana and his address to Southwestern governors, and the misallocation of funds and the priorities that they're given to both their private and public activities, and how that is misplaced according to Femi Falana. And Ifoma just shared her thoughts, saying that she agrees with the lawyer. I just wanted to take your perspective on the matter before we go forward.
Clearly,
Can
you
you
said
hear
that
me?
regarding. Yes, I didn't hear you clearly. You said
Yeah,
regarding the.
Femi Falana. So we are talking about Femi Falana's address to Southwestern governors, and I wanted to get your take on it. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, go
All
on then.
right. So, in response to what the Leonard Silk has said, addressing how state governors address these issues,
Yeah.
I would say that he's very much correct regarding the way that they are mismanaging the the funds of the state. We've had several aspects for which state governors have decided to spend money on frivolities that do not relate to the very essence of governance. Um, we've seen several states that have refused to pay pension. We've seen several states that have refused to pay gratuities. We've seen several states that have refused to even pay salaries. And these are not the dividends of democracy that many of the people voted for during elections. And most times I can say categorically that we have this simply because the people are not really the ones who make the choice during elections. So because they are not the one that made this choice, these governors who have taken this seat end up being governors for themselves and not governors for the state. So it's a sad situation, and I do hope that votes begin to count going forward so that the people's choice can, because when we have people who were put there by the people, definitely you will not see this reckless spending from state governors.
But okay, about what you just said about electing the person to occupy offices that people want. I'm saying if the situation of the country is like this, do you honestly believe? Let me start. If we go ahead to vote and the people we vote for emerge as winners, do you think that those people possess the integrity and credibility to live out their promises over time?
Well, I believe that anybody that is coming
Interested in governance. We've seen a lot of people being interested in elections. We saw that, right? In fact, since 2019, I would say categorically, we saw that there is a growing interest in elections. And coming into the 2023 general elections, apart from the fact that, yes, we had different instances that affected voter turnout, there are a lot of interest in the election. So even though we don't have people who are voting, people are also aware of the candidates and who they truly want. So if the people's choices are upheld, we saw what happened in Edo State in terms of the elections, with the Edo State governorship elections.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't the reflection of what the people wanted. So if we have people who are voted by the people, trust me, the people will even be more willing to hold them accountable. But if you have people who you didn't vote for hold certain political offices, you'll be relaxed because you know you didn't put them, and even asking them for accountability would almost be nothing. So when we begin to put the right people, or when we get the people that we actually voted for in office, then we will have dividends of democracy. I believe that.
All right.
all right.
Thank you for that,
Thank you for
Maxwell.
that,
But what do
Maxwell.
you
But what do you
think? Do you
think?
hold the same?
Yeah, I actually think that what he just said is quite apt. because talking about you knowing the people to vote, I believe that these people have portfolios. You understand? It's more like you making research. What have they done in the past?
Yeah.
If they were placed in governorship positions, you understand? I mean, ruling positions. Did they deliver on their mandate and or whatnot? You could see even at the last election, there was this particular driver from Labour Party that emerged one position like that from Labour Party. It's not really because he has been in governance, you get, but because people have seen that, okay, this person can actually deliver on this particular position, and they placed him, they voted him for that particular position. So yes, I think if the public should come out, I say the public, if people should say, okay, this is who we want, let them vote for those people that they want. And at the end of the day, if it is those people that they want that wins the election, they can actually criticize those people if they are not doing exactly what they have been placed in that position to do.
You know, I see reasons with what you and Maxwell just said, but the thing is that I feel personally, over time, we've seen politicians who, you know, initially had good interest or wanted to serve the public come into power, and somehow the system did not allow that to happen, both at the presidential level and at normal political levels and different offices that people hold. So I believe that maybe we should find a way to set up systems that would ensure that whether you have integrity or not, if the system has integrity and has the power to call people for accountability, that it will be able to checkmate whoever comes into power. That's my own personal stance, because I don't think that being someone of integrity, especially in the kind of country that we are in now, is enough. We need systems to enforce that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think there are systems, but the thing there is that the people in charge are controlling the system. It's not like they don't have systems put in charge, systems to man these things or to manage these things or to make sure that those things they are supposed to do, they do them. They have systems.
But it's not independent sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on, Mr. Maxwell, what do you think we should do? Should we appeal to their conscience? I mean, when I mean conscience, I mean the politicians now, those people in power. Or should we set up a system like to make sure?
Okay, by and large, one of the reasons why these politicians have the effrontery to continue to, do what they do is because the people have refused to stand up to their ineptitude. In what the learned silk, Femi Falana, was saying, you could hear him list several, infrastructural problems where we have them budgeting billions for the purposes of renovating buildings, not just at state level. We've seen it at the federal level with the Bola Tinubu-led administration since 2023. But what I think categorically is there is a place for the people to come in. I believe strongly that the highest office in the country is that of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if citizens refuse to take up the towel and swing into action, this will continue. And how are they going to do that? It's not just about systems. There is a place for civil disobedience, and I believe in it. You may call it illegal, but when a government has refused to uphold every tenet of legality, every tenet that has been prescribed by the very democracy we claim to practice, then the people must rise up to the occasion. We saw what happened with the 2023 general elections. If the people had stood their feet and said, no, you are not going to announce this result with how flawed the result is and how, problematic the result is, then we would have had a very good result that would have been announced for the people. But what happened? Everybody went to sleep. So the people must rise up to the occasion and see that they fix the problems in the system and ensure of course, not just to just talk about it, hit the streets, request for a demand for it. We have people like Obot Takpabio who didn't contest elections, but we see him holding office. The same thing with Ahmed Lawan. Many of these problems in terms of leadership. So it's not just about the laws here. If the politicians fail to uphold these laws, the people must hold them accountable. And by doing that, you must take up your right as a citizen and do that, by civil disobedience. I believe strongly in that.
Yeah, I agree with it. Talking about results and uploading of results, before we move on to the next story, it's a sad situation what is going on in the education sector in Nigeria. It's really sad, because Femi Falana also mentioned about, the WAEC results, and I wanted to bring it to this table because of what just happened recently. So WAEC uploaded results, and after a while, people started noticing that there were a lot of F9s everywhere, and people were asking, parents especially, is it that these kids did not know what they wrote at all, or was this a glitch? And after that, WAEC had to re-upload another result, and the result that came up now was fairly better. But I'm saying, you have students, you have teenagers most especially, who might have, put in their best, burnt the midnight candle to write and sit for an examination as WAEC, and for them to be met with this kind of output, this kind of inconsistency with their results. What does it say about our education sector, and where are we educationally, Ifeoma?
When you talk about the educational sector, I would actually say that it's in total shambles, because statistics have shown that about or over 18.3 million children or students are out of school, which is partly the western part of Nigeria, that is Ekiti, Oyo, and the rest of them. And I ask, you're spending millions, you're spending billions on wardrobe allowances, on vehicle allowances and the rest of it.
Utility vehicles.
And the educational sector is left in the situation it is. It is quite saddening.
It is.
You will see that Femi Falana equally mentioned something like that students who are due for WAEC go to miracle centers, because should I talk about the strike? Should I talk about the equipment,
that is
the low budget equipment that they give students? How do you expect people to thrive when they are not provided for you didn't give them the adequate materials to thrive in exams? Of course, they will definitely sort a way out. And the people that they are equal, the miracle centers and the people that go to different schools, that is private schools, are people that have money. People that don't have money stay at home. And my pain is that it's not like these children are not willing to learn.
It's not like they are
willing to learn. It's not like they are not smart. But the system has failed them continuously.
Back to back.
And
that's a sad situation.
It's a sad situation. It is high time that we start holding all these governors accountable for their actions and inactions. It is high time.
No, really, and that's why I agree with what you and Maxwell have been saying. But let's just go straight to the second story because of time. The person of ex-governor Nyesom Wike, is it politically safe for one man to wield so much power? I mean, what do you think, Maxwell?
Okay. The case of Wike and the PDP, and I'll also say the APC, has become troubling because the types of Nyesom Wike are turning Nigeria into a one-party state. Though a lot of people will argue that we are still practicing a democracy, one of the core principle of democracy is that there are multiplicity of political parties. This is so that the people can have plethora of options, abundance of options to choose. That is why it's called democracy in the whole sense of it. But what Wike is doing is that he's trying to grab power by all means, and in doing so, he's playing against the rules of the game. What is really the rules of the game? There are no level playing fields for all of the persons, both members of the PDP and members of the APC. Even within the APC, there are a lot of people that are disgruntled about the pattern with which Wike is, operating. And it's troublesome that one man will be able to be a power broker to decide who stays in office. Recall that the former PDP chairman, Wike, asked that he be let go, secondus. He brought in, I think it was Alia, what is his name? And then he asked for him to be installed as the chairman of the PDP. After that, the same person who asked for this person to be installed as chairman, he also asked for him to be let go. He wants to make sure that he has a hand in every decision that is being made in the political party. He has a hand in the appointments and all. This portends a very huge problem. And that is why the PDP, I would say very strongly, had several issues in the last election. Well, it's not like they could have won the election with the kind of support we saw for Peter Obi, but they had that problem because their entire house was in disarray as a result of Wike taking away, strong party members to the APC. We have one leg here and one leg there. So it's a very big problem. It's a very big problem.
Yeah. Okay, to you, Ifoma, now.
Yeah.
Okay, before you add to what he wants to say, let's just answer it at a time. So the thing here is that PDP has agreed to the terms of Nyesom Wike, saying that they have agreed to give the presidential ticket to a southerner, right? And hereby, they are not expecting any more kind of fight from Wike. They are not expecting Wike to constantly put them on the spotlight to fight their policies. So do you think that with PDP agreeing with Wike, they stand a chance come 2027?
There's possibility, but Wike is trouble. Let me give you a little rundown of his activities.
All right.
This is the same man that was accused of demolishing buildings, displacing a lot of Nigerians. This was the same man that was accused of going loggerhead with his successor. He's not even accused. He had fight with his successor. Yeah. This was the same man that was accused of inflating figures during election. This was the same man that was that they said that I don't know, something like he was giving land to his children or something like that. You could see that he's trouble. He is serious trouble. There is no internal peace. This thing they're doing right now is more like for them to have an internal peace between them.
Exactly.
Because this man has been causing chaos in their party. In as much as I love the fact that they are talking this peace talk, but at the same time, I don't think this will actually be a good idea moving forward.
Moving forward, right?
Yes, because it's giving Wike a lot of power.
Mr. Maxwell, coming back to you, they also are speculating that former President Goodluck Jonathan might just return to the political scene to run for the 2027 elections. And they also said that if he should return, that he's in the best place to influence Peter Obi against running for presidency in 2027. What do you make of all of that?
Well, like you call them, they are still speculation. But before I address that, let me say this about Wike. If they are agreeing to Wike's demands as to installing Anyanwu as the secretary of the PDP, and also the zoning to the south, who is Wike supporting in the election? Wike, as under the current APC leadership in Abuja here as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. So if they are doing their biddings to satisfy to suit his ego who is Wike supporting in the 2027 general elections? These are questions that should be probing our mind. But back to your question, these are just speculations. I think that it is in the best interest of Goodluck Jonathan to avoid these people who do not have his interest at heart. Because believe you me, that anybody who is encouraging Goodluck Jonathan to come out and run elections would be shooting him in the foot. The reason I'm saying this is very simple. We've gone past the time of Goodluck Jonathan. This is how many years since he left power? This is about 10 years since 2015 that he left power. We don't need a Goodluck Jonathan. He was not so fantastic. He was not fantastic. It was still during his time that we had several issues as to security. We had several issues as to mismanagement of funds with this same PDP. And now to bring up, I think that these are just rumors that are brought to unravel or to rattle and unsettle the coalition talks, because you are aware that there are serious talks with the coalition about putting the ticket in the south. Atiku being the major player from the north. You have Amechi, you have Peter Obi. But the fact is, Goodluck Jonathan, for any reason whatsoever, cannot command the kind of followership that Peter Obi commands currently. Peter Obi's track record speaks for him. There is none that beats it. His integrity, his style of governance while he was governor of the state, he has been consistent. So I think that Goodluck Jonathan will not fall for these. These are mere speculations, and he is definitely not going to run. These are my perceptions. These are just a way of rattling and unsettling the southern decision to bring out a formidable candidate to tackle the Tinubu-led administration in the 2027 general elections.
I think that's an amazing question that you asked. Who is Wike supporting? I feel like that's something that we should ask more often. If he's playing this game, we need to ask, who is he then supporting? Because we know that he's a key player in the current administration. But over to you. Do you think, Ifoma, that in 2027, that there will be a fair or a level ground, for the elections?
We try as much as possible to, remain hopeful that everything will turn out in Nigerians' favor. But at the same time, you could see what's going on with the coalition. The people in PDP moving over to ADC, the people in APC moving over to the same set of people, rotating leadership. Yeah. And I ask, when will this end? Because I'm literally not seeing a new person coming up and saying, okay, I want to contest for presidency. This is maybe somebody that we know, okay, is of it doesn't have a bad reputation. You understand? We are not seeing anything like that. But we are still remaining hopeful. At the end of the day, they say light.
Yeah, we cannot take away that hope.
Yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're still hoping that 2027 will actually turn out well. So.
All right. Thank you very much, Ifoma. And to you, Maxwell Ukoma, this has been an enlightening conversation. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Maxwell. Do have a lovely day. All right. You're welcome. And to our viewers, this is still Active Citizens. The program is As E Dey Hot. Please feel free to drop your comments in the comment section. Whatever your opinions are, we want to hear it. And also follow us on all our social media handles at Active Citizens Media. In Anambra, the mantra is see something, say something. So this is my own plea to you. Not just for people in Anambra, no matter where you are, be free to express yourself. And also remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media platforms. And personally, you can find me at Sharon Nmchuku. And for you?
You can find me on Facebook at Ifoma Oji and on Instagram at Miselex.
All right. Thank you very much. It has really been a hot conversation, and we're looking forward to Active Citizens Parliament by 4 p.m. today. Till we see you then, have a good afternoon.